Welcome back to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We're here with the Sim Racing Unleashed Cup Series for their playoffs with the next NASCAR Next Gen Cup Series car here at the Auto Club Speedway for the Termite Designs 200 here for 100 laps around this 2-mile racing surface. Tonight, though, the critical thing that's going down, we're starting our playoffs as the round of one here of the elimination playoffs begin with 12 drivers entering with a chance to win a championship. And remember, we're eliminating 2 drivers tonight. Every single week, we're eliminating drivers here in the final 4 weeks before we decide our final championship driver in the final week. It's going to be a climax here every single night to what driver won't be going on to the next round and which drivers will be. So make sure you stay tuned to that leaderboard because it's going to be changing around as we pay attention all night here at the Auto Club Speedway. As I am Zach Hall up in the booth, joined alongside me, one of the great drivers on iRacing, one of my best buddies and my teammate, Brian Johnson, as he'll be calling the action alongside me. And we'll have Robert Moyer Jr. up in the production box, as always, running the cameras. Brian, welcome to the booth. We'll be here tonight, filling in for Dave Medina. And, man, we're here Auto Club for the next gen car. I know you don't have a lot of experience, but, man, you do have playoff experience in winning critical races.
Yeah, thank you, Zach. It's Auto Club, big track. We're in these next gen cars, so we're gonna be right on top of each other. So every decision you make has to be methodical, calculated. You have to calculate the risk with every move that you make, and just especially for these playoff guys, got to be very careful. You don't want to be one of those 2 drivers that get eliminated. So just minimize the risk, and just kind of again just methodically make your way through the field to get to the position that you need to get to make it to the next round.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the critical thing for sure. Paying attention to your competition, making sure you're in a safe spot as these drivers head on over to the qualifying portion of tonight's race here for the Termite Designs 200. This is going to be critical to get yourself up front. We've seen this next gen car earlier in the season, Brian. It was hard to get around people, and that's one thing I think you'll learn here as you commentate here alongside me tonight, that this car is a track position car. We're going to stay packed up, but along with that, it is tough to get past this done, and you sometimes need a little bit of help. But I tell you what, under the lights here, they're going to have a lot of grip, and I expect from what we've seen in practice, it's going to be drivers on top of one another.
Yeah, from what I saw in practice, it's definitely going to be a pack race tonight. So tons of action that we're going to have to cover. We're going to be on the edge of our seats all night long, and again, got to be methodical and got to make sure that no mistakes are made. Every little mistake can lead to a bigger mistake and potentially get yourself wrecked. So got to stay mistake free, as I always say. But tonight with the pack racing, got to make sure you hold the line. Don't overdrive it a little bit and push somebody up into the wall or nothing. It's very important when you're on top of each other like this. You got to stay as perfect as possible.
Perfection is going to be the key for sure here tonight and in the playoffs, as you're going to perform each and every race as it's the elimination style playoffs here, dropping 2 drivers each week as we go. And here tonight, Auto Club, you got to know those 12 drivers. They're going to have the green windshield banners and green spoilers on their race cars. That those drivers are going to be first off your points leader coming into tonight. And points aren't going to matter on this. It's all about finishing order, really. So, but your regular season champion, though, Steven Stippian, he's going to be your first playoff driver, along with Mark Whitley, Chuck Sweeting, Dave Bush, Mark Kochick, Mike Chamberlain, Jason Allen, Brad Delth, James Bryant, Robert Cheswick, Larry Blair, and Michael Yarrow. So 12 strong drivers there, and 2 of those drivers are going to be going home tonight. And if your drivers like Steven Stippian and Mark Whitley, who've been somewhat the dominant drivers of the whole entire portion of the season here, I tell you what, one of those drivers could very easily be going home here tonight, Brian.
Oh yeah, easily. I mean, it doesn't take much to be knocked out of the playoffs. Playoffs are, it's one of those deals where one little mistake, if you, even a small of a mistake as sliding through your pit box on pit road on the last pit stop of the race with a green, white checkered, like that could cost you a ticket to the next round of playoffs. So again, just gotta be as perfect as possible, and that can be hard to do, but it's not impossible.
Right here, we're watching qualifying tick away here as we got about 1:18 to go here in this qualifying session. Steven Stippian in the 81 machine your leader for the qualifying session. Great lap for him to put himself atop the board. Second's going to go to Cedric Hunter in the next shin car, along with Robbie Darnell, Mark Whitley, another playoff driver, Hunter Hayward there in the 48, Nicholas Lobey 6th, Isaiah Sutherland 7th, Dave Bush 8th, Gary was Nipsky. I'm sorry, Gary, we're going to get that one right there. I might have to look through the notes here, but 10th is Mike Chamberlain. And what I'm looking at is there's a lot of guys that aren't in the playoffs up here in the battle, so this is going to shake things all around, and that's what's really going to stir the pot, I think, tonight.
Yeah, looking at these playoffs, really, really close times. That just kind of shows you how the pace is going to be during the race. Again, just going to be right on top of each other. You know, but we do see where a lot of drivers have chosen not to qualify. So we could see them trying to work their way up through the pack as the race goes on. And I think a lot of that is going to depend on the amount of cautions we get. You know, if these guys can stay clean and these guys at the back of the pack can kind of pick these guys off one by one, they may be able to get through the field. But either way, you know, it's going to be a tall order for these guys towards the back of the pack. You know, with these next gen cars and just Auto Club in general. Auto Club is a very tough track to pass on. So, you know, your qualifying position was very, very important. And for those guys that qualified up in the front, that was lucky for them.
That it was, as we have qualifying now come to a close. We have our starting grid here tonight for the Termite Designs 200 here at the Auto Club Speedway here at the Sim Racing Unleashed Cup Series for elimination race round number 1. Steven Stimpy going to start up front. Great spot for him here, leading the points incoming tonight with the regular season championship. Cedric Hunter is going to be second alongside him. Robbie Darnell going to be third. Fourth is going to go to Mark Whitley. Fifth place is going to be the 48 of Hunter Hayward. Sixth going to go to Nicholas Lobey. Seventh is going to be Isaiah Sutherland. Eighth going to go to Dave Bush. Ninth is going to go to Gary Slapnitsky. 10th is going to go to Mike Chamberlain. 11th is going to go to Brad Delph. 12th is going to be Brandon Hartwell. 13th place, James Bryant. 14th is going to go to Mike Peters. 15th, Larry Blair. 16th, Stephen Leffler in the 72 machine. 17th is going to go to Mark Koschik. 18th, Chuck Sweetie, one of our playoff drivers, along with Mark Koschik there. 19th, going to go to Kyle Heath. 20th, going to go to Michael Yarrow. 21st, Dylan Zelms. 22nd, Clifton Ashley. 23rd is going to go to Kevin Roy. 24th, Paul Cohen. 25th, Jason Adams. 26th, Robert Cheswick. And rounding out the field in 27th position is Andrew Phipps, as that is your starting order here tonight for 27 cars. Some definite new names out here as we start in the playoffs. That's going to add some new styles and some new bumps in the road possibly. So we're going to have to see how that all plays out here tonight, Brian. It's about to roll off the grid here, but what a great starting grid we got.
Yeah, you know, and hopefully these new guys, they just, you know, they realize that, hey, we got playoffs going on, got these playoffs drivers, maybe give them a little extra room. But definitely, you know, not the expectation. Got to race everybody the same at some point, so because everybody's trying to go for the win. But, you know, great for Steven Stimpian, being the regular season champion, starting first tonight. So he's sitting in a good position, and, you know, I would expect to see him being pretty defensive. You don't want to give up that clean air, want to stay up front. And I think while you do have to be methodical and calculate that risk as you're making moves during the race, I think you also have to be a little bit aggressive, because you never know when your next opportunity to pass somebody will be. So, you know, it's kind of that thin line between being safe and being aggressive, which I think we'll see these guys go through as the race goes on all night long. So, and with that, being on top of everybody all night long, Auto Club, we're in for a great treat tonight.
We are here. Steven Stippian going to have control of the field. Cedric Hunter up top in the 11 machine, non-playoff driver there. Can the non-playoff drivers be a factor here tonight, Brian?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's especially, you know, you got Cedric. We know he's fast. Hunter Hayward up here as well. He can be pretty consistent and up there. So, you know, and I think the biggest thing for them is, you know, they're going to race how they're always going to race, but it's their dirty air that's, I think, is going to be the biggest factor for these playoff drivers.
Let's get the playoffs kicked off here. It's Sim Racing Unleashes Cup Series Next Gen style here as we bring out the Next Gen car for the final 4 races of the season. Pace car, takes the hard left-hand turn down the pit road. Steven Stippian in control of the field as Barney waits for the field to get in the restart zone. Green flag is in the air. We're off and away. Great dead even start. The clean air is going to be critical here early. Which line's going to move as we head down the one? It's a dead even heat throughout the field.
Yeah, you got Darnell in the 44 looking to push Steven Stippian past Cedric, but you got Mark Whitley behind Cedric looking to push him past Steven Stippian. But as we come out of turn 2, looks like Steven Stippian gonna clear Cedric Hunter, and he's gonna have the lead as we go down the backstretch.
What a job there. Robbie Darnell, though, the third-place starter. What a great qualifying spot it was for him, but he's quickly losing positions through the middle of the pack, dropping backwards in that 44 machine as this field continues the race battle for the lead. Now Cedric Hunter dives back in for that second position as he looks to hold on that. Mark Whitley up the third, Hunter Hayward up the fourth as we cross the start-finish line for lap number 1. It's already showing to be mayhem here as we head down to turn 1 at high speeds.
Yeah, and right now we got about the top 7 cars evenly lined up as we see Cedric Hunter looking to the outside of the leader. Is he going to be there? I think he is. So now it's going to be a drag race down the backstretch. Who is Mark Whitley going to go with?
That is the question. We've seen this outside line with the drafting style racing here be that preferred move a lot of times as everybody slides up to that wall. That draft really considerably helps that driver. But the bottom lane in 3 and 4, really good run there from Steven Stippian. He looks to possibly pull back alongside. He's got the help of his teammate there, Hunter Hayward there behind. Also, Dave Bush going to drop down low. That's another driver I think we need to watch out for tonight with that green spoiler. He is very, very good in this next-gen car and has performed well in it earlier in the season. We'll see what he can produce here as he is looking to pull himself forward and possibly move himself on to the next round.
We were single file up front there for a little bit, but not anymore. So we got Mark behind Cedric. They're trying to push that outside line. And we got Hunter Hayward really giving a good shove to Steven Stippian as we head into turn 3. And right now, it looks like Hunter Hayward even going to clear Cedric Hunter here. We'll see if he wants to slide up. Looks like he's not going to. Got Dave Bush behind Hunter Hayward there. So inside lane right now, got the momentum.
Momentum to the inside lane, that it is. Dave Bush, Hunter Hayward, Steven Stippian. We've seen this with the next-gen car. These three get hooked up together and dominate a race. Right now, the competition's letting it happen. And Cedric Hunter thought he had the advantage up top with the help of Mark Whitley and Isaiah Sutherland, but it has not went their ways. Now they fight with Dave Bush down the back straightaway.
Yeah, it's almost very similar to Talladega or Daytona, but everything takes just a little bit longer to develop. You know, we usually see the inside lane or outside lane at Daytona or Talladega gain some momentum on the other lane and maybe a corner or half a lap, but here it typically takes maybe 2 or 3 laps for that momentum change to happen, and we just saw it. So that outside lane looking to try to get a little bit organized and see what they can do, but right now looks like they're trying to get back to single file up there for the top 5.
Looks like top 5 going to be single file as Cedric Hunter crosses back over. Looks like he'll go to the inside of the 78. Gary Slapnitsky there in that 78 machine as he'll try to take position. He's got Mark Whitley looking to go with him here in the bottom lane. Also, Isaiah Sutherland in the 1 driving up to the door there. And Nicholas Loby in the 13. He's also pulled up into this picture.
Yeah, and you see Cedric Hunter with a huge run. Took it to the inside. Got his way up to the inside of Hunter Hayward there for second, but just that run dies out and then you can't do anything. You know, you really need the help of the draft, the push from behind you to really get anything done. And I think that's what we're going to see all night long, even as the track changes with the rubber, is that, you know, a lot of these positions, it's going to be like a revolving door almost where, you're up top and you get past. So then you switch to the bottom and then you pass the guy and then, you know, a lot of crossing over, a lot of, like I said, just a revolving door. Very dynamic form of racing here tonight, which can be frustrating as a driver because, you know, you're doing all this work and you get up to where you think you should be, and then half a lap, it gets taken away from you.
Yeah, I think this right here is showing how the inside line is dropping back here. Even though Cedric Hunter's still holding strongly with the third and the fourth car in a row, that group of 3 there, Steven Stippian, Hunter Hayward, Dave Bush, they hooked up so well on the bottom and got it going that it's impressive to see that they've been able to now get out front, and the inside line hasn't been able to do what they've been able to do. So we'll see if another trio of drivers can do it, but it looks like checkups is possibly going to be what causes this fight because everybody right here in the top 15, all stacked up on top of each other. This package here is being very much racing, just like you said at Daytona or Talladega. These guys are racing side by side for the majority of the lap.
Yeah, and I think what it is that, during the straightaways, these guys really suck up to each other, get right on their bumper, but in the corners, especially in the middle when that car starts to push, that dirty air really takes effect and they're having to back off. And so, again, just very dynamic, and it's keeping these guys right on top of each other. And as we see, as the tires are just about up to temperature now, that inside lane has almost no speed compared to the outside lane right now.
And it really does. It just cannot seem to work compared to that outer groove. And it's something, we even experienced, I believe, in the Gen 6 here not too long ago at Auto Club. The outside groove, everybody sees the slingshot up there. As Mark Whitley, he now jumps up there in the 77. I think he's had enough. He said, I need to jump down, back up top, see if I can gain something. Now he goes through the middle. Brad Delphin, he's got to close the doors. Nicholas Lobey's there. Close racing here for back for position. Remember, Mark Whitley, one of our top contenders in this series. No fast repair tonight. If he gets in a major incident, he could be a driver sitting out next week, and that would be a huge blow because he's going for 3 in a row championships.
Yeah, that was a pretty risky move, but earlier in the race, I think you can kind of trust these guys to give you the extra space that you need to pull that off. So no harm, no foul. As we see these guys starting to get single file, I think those guys on the inside lane realize, like, hey, I'm not getting making any momentum down here. And, I guess technically speaking, when you're on that inside lane and you're on the exit of the corner, you're trying to, come up onto the straightaway and get that wheel straight. When you're on the inside lane, you got to keep that wheel turned just a little bit longer than the guy to your outside. And that kind of, that does shave off maybe 1, 2, 3 mile an hour. And so, these cars with as critical as momentum is, and that's kind of, I think, the biggest factor with why the inside lane isn't working right now is just because you got to keep that little extra bit of steering wheel into it for a little bit longer.
Yeah, this is definitely a little bit different. I know they've updated this car a little bit here, especially with the way the car is drafted and the package works, especially at Daytona and Talladega. But right now, this is showing here that you can get side by side more often, as we do have our first yellow flag of this evening, and I think that might be Jason Adams there, parked on the apron of turn 1, just getting rolling now, and that's going to be major smoke from that engine, from that Chevrolet, as he looks to pull away from the accident scene. Not sure exactly what played out there for him, but we're going to have to go back here on the freaky fast instant replay to see how Jason Adams' night has gone from a really decent start to a bad way to end here as we head down into 1. Looks like just getting down to the corner. Looks like he maybe got a little bit of help there. Not sure exactly which driver that is. It looks like Robert Cheswick in the 6th there. A little bump is the checkup in front of him, and that's something that happens in these corners. You get the draft up on the driver in front of you. Some drivers lift a little bit earlier, and that causes a checkup farther down the line. And if someone doesn't check up, that's the accordion effect that we see happen.
Yeah, and as when you're trying to pass a guy, trying to make something happen, you got to be right up on him. You can't, lift for him if you're trying to set up a pass on him. So, you can't blame the guy for trying to be, close racing and all that. But, just unfortunate as that checkup happened right on the entry of the turn when they're turning left. Looked like he just got hooked there a little bit. So, unfortunately, playoff driver. So he's got a lot to make up here for the rest of the race. But luckily, only lap 12, so he's got plenty of time to try to make something happen.
Plenty of time to make something happen plenty of time to hit pit road, it seems, is our leaders, led by Steven Stippian, Hunter Hayward, Dave Bush, Gary Slapniski, and Cedric Hunter all hit pit road. Looks like James Bryan in the 52 machine, he'll elect to stay out, along with one other race car out there. I believe that is the 6 of Robert Cheswick, who was involved in that incident, so he'll stay out here. As we got 4 sets of tires, Brian, so this is going to be their second set used. They'll only have 2 sets left at this point here at 13 laps in. That is that's an interesting kind of strategy.
Was that? I may have just seen that a little bit wrong, but it looks like most people just took fuel. Steven Simpian was not in his pit box all that very long.
I think you're right, bro. Yeah, everybody about a 6-second stop here, I believe. So, yeah, we're seeing fuel only for a lot of these race cars. So, yeah, I think this is a smart call here, and this is going to be interesting. It looks like the one of Isaiah Sutherland looks like he may have took a fresh set of tires here, and along with I believe the 14 out there, Brad Delph, he took tires also. So definitely a group of drivers who did take tires, but most of them just topping off here, Brian. That's going to give them a little bit more strategy and also a little bit more turn in that race car too.
Yeah, I know with the the current Gen 6 car, not too sure about these next gen cars, but I'd imagine it'd be a very similar thing. You know, that fuel that you put into the car, that fuel tank's in the back of the car. So while you do add fuel and it does add weight to the car, which, you think makes you a little bit slower, it is going to lower that rear ride height a little bit. So get that spoiler out of the air just a tad. And then of course there's the whole balance thing with the weight in the front or the back of the car. So adding fuel here, probably just to add some options for strategy. But I think a good thing to do as we head into this next run here, these guys with these old tires, added fuel, probably to try to help that balance of the car a little bit.
Well, doing a little math in my head, Brian, I'm thinking most of the time here around Auto Club, you're looking at around 45 laps for a run here. 45, 46, 47. They pit there on lap 13 of this race. I think that sets them up for a one stop from here. That's enough laps to give them that buffer room to make the one stop work. I think that's the goal of what everybody just did there, and we'll see how Isaiah Sutherland and Brad Delph do on the tires. But man, the fall off really wasn't too much there either. So we'll fuel them back up and let them rip here with James Bryan out front and Robert Cheswick leading the way.
Yeah, taking tires there when everybody else elected to not take tires. I don't know if that was probably the smart, well, not the smartest thing to do, but not the best option. Just because with these under caution, these old tires, they did get a chance to cool off. So the first 2-3 laps, these tires are going to be pretty even.
Pretty even for sure they are. We'll see how even they are when the green flag drops here as we are at the Auto Club Speedway. Pace car takes the hard left-hand turn down the pit road. James Bryant going to be in control of the field here at the Sim Racing Unleashed elimination round number 1 playoff race here. Auto Club for the Termite Designs 200. We're back, green flag racing, headed down the one, and it's stacked up, man. This looks like super speedway racing as they head down there. It's going to all be stacked on James Bryant and Robert Cheswick out front.
Yeah, you saw Cheswick didn't have the greatest restart, but Steven Simpian gave him a huge push, which gave him the huge amount of momentum headed into 1, and you can see him clearing the entire field as we head into 3, but that field getting the draft and catching right back up to him.
It looks like the 52 of James Price, the one who loses out, as Cheswick misses the bottom there, slides up off the groove. That allows Steven Stippy right back to the lead, along with the 78 of Gary Slapinski, and also Hunter Hayward down side by side with Dave Bush. Cedric Hunter through the middle, 3 wide. It looks like Mark Whitley going to try to follow him through. Also, Stephen Leffler there. He's trying to work his way up here. As, man, it's really getting hairy here in these moments.
Yeah, right now, Cedric Hunter looking to the outside of Hunter Hayward. See how this works out for him as they come out of 2. Which driver is going to have the momentum, and as the Hunter Hayward going to slide up there. So for now, top 6 side by side, as behind him still a little bit more hectic.
Yeah, definitely a little bit more hectic behind that 52 of James Bryant. Looks like Stephen Leffler still trying to go forward, but Isaiah Sutherland in the 1 machine. Remember, he's on the fresher set of tires along with Brad Delph. Those two in the 1 and the 14 trying to move forward here, but have kind of gotten stuck here as you're riding on board with Hayward. You can see you get in this position, you got to ride here for a moment and try to get as clear as you can possibly, then get out front. But, man, the group up front of Smoky, they have done such a good job all season long getting together. Right now, they've gotten a little separated as Dave Bush has got pushed back a little bit farther into the pack than they would like. But Hunter Hayward and Steven Stippy, and only 1 car separate them now.
Yeah, and as a driver, especially in Hunter Hayward's position, sitting 3rd, single file right now, and you obviously want to try to get to the lead, but it's going to take 2 or 3 laps to try to find something to develop, and then another 2 or 3 laps to try to make it work, and another 2-3 laps to get around the guys. So a lot of what you're doing tonight is going to be dependent on what the guys around you do, which, as a driver can be very frustrating. You want to be kind of in control of your own destiny, but with this aero package here tonight, it's not going to be the case. You're going to have to have a little bit of luck, a little bit of teamwork, and just make the best of your situation.
Yeah, I think making the best of your situation is going to be one of those things in the playoffs that always seems to happen. Is James Bryant. I've seen him dice up the racetrack. It was 4 wide there for a moment down the back straightaway with Brad Dell, Isaiah Sutherland there in the 1. Also, man, the 52 just missed the corner, slid right up the track, and that could have been disastrous. Back throughout the back end, scattered here as our top 7, now almost top 8, have all single filed out there. It looks like Stephen left for the first car battling. As here goes the battles of Dylan Zelms, Kyle Health here, and Clifton Ashley all within this battle here as it stacks up on the back straightaway.
Yeah, you can just see missing the bottom. It's a small mistake, but pays great dividends. Losing 5, 6, 7, 8 positions, those small mistakes can really hurt you as the race goes on. Now, it's going to take about 10, 15 laps to get those positions back.
Very tough indeed to get those positions back. Is right now at the moment going to try to give you a live look here of what the playoffs would be at the moment with the drivers who would be sitting their way out right now. I believe the first driver out would be Mark Koschik, I believe, and Jason Adams. So the 24, that was a major incident for him that involved him. He is looking like his night may be over. He needs to get that fixed though, Brian, because no fast repairs. We can see how packed up it is. One of those other playoff drivers could get very well knocked out of this race. If he gets his fixed in time, he could get back around a couple drivers with her cars.
Yeah, of course, that is going to take a couple of cautions there to get that car fixed. So, again, it's just need a little bit of luck on your side, but definitely not undoable. As we've got a pass for 6th place, I believe, battle for 6th. As car on the inside didn't have the momentum, having to resort back to 7th as the 72 looks beneath the 6th there. And makes the pass look very, very easy. These guys looking to complete lap 21.
Yeah, and a little bit of checker there. Cheswick had a little bit of a moment. He's also got some damage on the front of the nose as Dave Bush goes around with Brad Delve involved here. Caution is out of the race service. Both of them hard into the inside wall. 2 playoff drivers involved in this incident. That's what I'm talking about. Jason Adams maybe on pit road right now with 9 laps down. Getting that car fixed is going to be critical because we have a few more playoff drivers really have a bad end to their day. It could come back into his favor to get enough laps in here to get ahead. As we'll go back on the freaky fast instant replay to see what happened to our playoff contenders of Brad Delve and Dave Bush on the front straight. It looks like the two just make contact here. 2 drivers going for a similar spot on the racetrack, and that is going to lead to Dave Bush turning across the nose of Brad Delve there. And both of these two trying to get it woed down here. This is going to be the unfortunate part as we ride on board. Great shot from our producer. Head on collision into that front pit wall.
Yeah, that's heavy, heavy damage on both of those cars. That's going to take multiple cautions to get that fixed. So, for the playoff drivers that got involved in incidents earlier, that's really good for them. And now with that being, I think it's 3 playoff drivers now getting involved in wrecks. The battle for trying not to get knocked out has heated up here a little bit. But, with that incident right there, I have to wonder, the side draft, if that kind of sucks the car around to the side of where that side draft is coming from. You had that car on the inside of Dave Bush, and I have to wonder if that side draft just kind of sucked the car to the left a little bit, and if that's why that contact was made. But just unfortunate. Nothing either one of those 2 drivers really could have done there. So yeah, it's gonna be a long night for those 2 guys now.
Yeah, I get that feeling too, Brian. It does sometimes when you are at these, especially so aero sensitive drafting tracks like this, as everybody comes down pit road here for this caution. It does seem like the air can move you around almost sometimes and just suck you into a spot that you don't want to be, man. And that is tough to be in. As looks like they're all coming down pit road here on lap 24. This is where I question. I think a set of tires could possibly go in the car here because you're going to still be set up with 2 sets of tires for the rest of this race, and you would only need 1 stop to make it to the end green flag. So I would expect maybe some to change them. Yes, Steven Stippian, he's going to jack up right sides on that machine there in the 81. Looks like Cedric Hunter, he's going to elect to
Ooh,
not take tires. The one Isaiah Sutherland and the 13 Nicholas Lobey not taking tires also. I believe the 10 of Clifton Ashley and the 3 of Kyle Heath, they're also not taking tires.
so yeah, the pit strategies have now shuffled the field. So now we're all sorts of upside down. And unfortunately for Steven Stympian, that's going to put him back to about 8th, 9th, 10th place. And I
Well,
believe we had 4 sets at the beginning of this race. So the guys that elected to take tires there now down to 3. Which still gives them plenty of sets of tires
well,
to do some different strategy things.
Well, one thing I count for that too, Brian, is 4 sets. That first set is on the car, so there's 3 sitting in
Oh,
pit road. Now those drivers who took that first set, it is going to be 2 sets left in the pit box for them. While Cedric Hunter, Isaiah Sutherland, though, remember he did take tires on the first stop, so we can't account him into this same strategy. But Cedric Hunter, there, he has not took tires yet in this race. I believe also along with Nicholas Lolby too. So those drivers yet to take tires. They have 3 sets still left, while most of the majority of the field has 2. And I would have. I feel like 2 would be plenty to make the rest of this race here, especially from what we've seen so far. But you never know; it could play out to where Cedric Hunter has an extra set at the right time at the end. And I tell you what, we've seen it before at places like this where you can't get away from each other. The one difference maker you can have is tires.
yeah, and we as drivers, we kind of joke about it as the tire lottery now. When if you decide to take tires, did you choose the right time? So I think that's what Cedric Hunter is thinking about. Not taking tires early in the race is going to give him more options later in the race where he can really uh, have fresh tires more often than these other guys. Whereas Steven Stympian took his set of tires right now, and of course he's only fell back to 6th place right now, so only a 5 position drop there for him, so not too bad. But this is the first time in this race where we're really going to see the difference in used tires and new tires. Is Steven Stympian going to be able to drive up to the front with battling the dirty air?
Yeah, I think this is going to show Brian what the difference is. Also, Isaiah Sutherland, remember he just took tires on the last set before, so I think he'll be in a good spot here for having some pretty fresh tires. Still, is we don't know what the wear conditions are yet of these tires, as we've not talked to any of them. But man, I tell you what, it could be very well wearing out very quickly. We'll see the pace car pull in this time as we were looking for the green flag to get ourselves back racing after our second caution of the night. Green flag's back in the air. Cedric Hunter with control of the field heading down to 1. Isaiah Sutherland, though, on the fresher tires. Mike Pierce there in the 95, and along with Kyle Heath.
Yep, 2x2 for pretty much the whole field. Definitely the top about 8 guys is Cedric Hunter. Got a little bit of a gap to the rest of the people, but those guys gonna suck up to him here on the backstretch. As we'll see what second place decides to do here. Is he gonna stick with him, or is he gonna dive down below him? Looks like Isaiah's gonna stick with him and kind of choose to be very conservative right now.
Yeah, conservative move there, and it's already showing that cool down phase of those tires. It does bring pace back, so Cedric Hunter could be looking in a good spot here with these older tires still. But here comes the big runs from everyone from behind as it's stacking up behind Steven Stympian. You can see Hunter Hayward, he's pushing that 81 and that 48%. Going forward is the energy, and Cedric Hunter still out front with the lead on the older tires out front here. That's just showing to me right there, Brian. I think tires are not going to be too much of an issue here tonight, because I believe most of these guys should be running very close to flat foot other than in the dirty air.
Yeah, and you can see as we entered turn 1 there, the 3 car of Kyle Heath, he had a massive run on Isaiah Sutherland there, but elected to just lift and stay behind him. I think as a driver, when you know that the inside lane at some point does become the slower lane, you're kind of hesitant to try to make a move. You want to be in the lane that's fastest to try not to lose any positions yourself while trying to make a move on somebody else. As you saw, Isaiah Sutherland and Kyle Heath able to get around Cedric Hunter with a little bit of momentum. And so now Cedric Hunter kind of put in 3rd place. Steven Stympian right on his bumper. So, while those caution laps did keep the used tires down, keep the temps down, make those tires just a little bit more even. We can see that Cedric Hunter might be just, maybe about 300-400 slower than the rest of the guys.
Man, well, I'll tell you what, behind this, we've had some 3-wide action. Chuck Sweeting, Hunter Hayward, all these drivers, the 78 of Gary Slapninsky there battling, along with Mike Peters in the 95 machine. The 25 of Brandon Hartwell driving himself almost up into the top 10 there. She's got the 13 machine, Nicholas Lowby up top as they slide on through. Mark Whitley's trying to make his way up also from inside the top 10. This is definitely shaping up very interestingly, but right now, our 2 drivers that would be knocked out of the playoffs if it was the end now would be Dave Bush and Jason Adams. As Adams is back on the track 13 laps down. Bush still in pit road 4 laps down.
Yeah, I think for Jason Adams at this point, he's gonna need another playoff driver to be just to be completely taken out right now. You know, complete meatball, having to have 40 minutes of repair, being 13 laps down. He's gonna need quite a bit of a change of luck for him. Dave Bush doesn't need quite something as severe, but it definitely needs some luck on his side after that unfortunate series of events earlier, as we got Steven Stempian trying to look for the lead, but can't quite do it in 3 and 4 as we're 3 wide, trying to be 3 wide for 6th place.
And oh man, that lead pack is getting crazy again as they stack up. Isaiah Sutherland leading the way on the bottom, but here comes Steven Stempian up top with the big run in the 81 machine. He's going to have the help of the 78, the 48, and the 11 machine up top, but down low, you're going to have the 1 to 3, the 72, and the 25 as we head down to 1 off of turn 2 side by side for the lead. Steven Stempian, he's looking to get back out front where he's been for majority of the night after sitting on pole position.
Yeah, and you can really see the past couple laps right there. Just, every position a revolving door. It really depends on what lane has the momentum, who is going to have that position. Right now it's the outside lane as Isaiah Sutherland looking to sneak up ahead of Cedric Hunter. Cedric Hunter going to give him a big push, see if they can catch Hunter Hayward before turn 1. And yeah, just a very aerodynamic track. It's fun to watch as a driver. A little bit frustrating, but also fun as well.
Yeah, definitely fun to watch. As the driver, this can get a little hectic and definitely feel like rush hour traffic that you don't enjoy because everybody's trying to take spots. And Cedric Hunter trying to close the door. Mike Peters there decided better of it, had to pull back out as that got way too close for comfort there. It could have been a major incident as Mark Whitley sits there at one of our playoff contenders. That could have put him in a bad situation here, but everybody stays straight as we're 32 laps into 100 here tonight as we're a third of the way through. Let's give a shout out to our sponsor here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, one of our longtime sponsors of ButtKicker. Make sure you head on over to ButtKicker.com where you can get yourself possibly a game or two or many other various other products used for not only for sim racing but movies, FPS games. I mean, really anything you want to listen to music. It's definitely got the bass that you're going to need for any type of immersion for definite vibrations and sound. So make sure you head on over to ButtKicker.com so you can feel what you've been missing. And you can use our discount code there you see on the screen of Freaky Fast 20 to get 20% off of any purchase there at ButtKicker.com. Thank you for ButtKicker for being a proud sponsor as they've always been here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. And I tell you what, this racing here has been very much getting more and more wild, more chance taking, and everybody sliding up into each other almost off the corner. Isaiah Sutherland, big chip on the back straightaway. Cedric Hunter looks to make a move, and that could have been disastrous there into the back bumper of the 48, who had to slow down a little bit after he got loose and checked everything up. And now Cedric Hunter within threat with the drivers behind him and Mark Whitley.
Yeah, you can really see now that the tires are up to temperature, Cedric Hunter just a teeny eensy little bit slower right in the center of the corner. I mean, we're talking like maybe 200-300 a lap slower, but it's definitely kind of hurting these guys behind him with this dirty air. They're not able to keep their momentum up. You see Mark Whitley get right up to his bumper. Now Cedric Hunter gonna get the push down the backstretch. But if you just pay attention to the center of the corner, it's just slightly slower with these new tires right now.
Yeah, definitely just a little bit less center speed there. You can see Whitley gets to the quarter panel. He slides up the racetrack. Man, He had to lift there, I believe, for Cedric, is that could have been disastrous because they could have been putting the wall together there. Yeah, again, that 11, you can tell the tires are starting to affect the center of the corner. He can stay here. He can stay within grasp of these guys with the draft, but right now he's having to definitely drive the wheels off of the, not make that thing want to plow, it looks like, on the exit of these corners. But doing a great job as he's still riding along here in fifth. As we look behind him, we got Mark Whitley, Steven Leffler, Brandon Hartwell, and Mike Peterson, Kyle Heath there in your top 10 again as Dave Bush still, he's back out on track actually, so 4 laps ahead of Jason Adams. That's a critical battle for him. He's 8 laps behind Brad Delph, who's about to go another lap down here. So it's going to be laps for that playoff battle as we look up for our old man. The big move there from Lieutenant Clifton Ashley is the check up ahead of him with Chuck Sweeting there, who he's been kind of quiet today. Chuck Sweeting, our third place driver coming in here tonight. He's been having a quiet night, maybe just trying to survive this madness, knowing that this is an elimination race and no reason to put yourself out early.
Yeah, I think that's, well, I don't want to say one strategy is smarter than another, but I personally like Chuck Sweeting's strategy right now is don't be involved in any of the action going on right now. Look, it's only lap 37. The finishes are determined on lap 100, so we got to make it to lap 100 before anything matters. So right now, I think just kind of biding his time, and as the race goes on, maybe once we get to about halfway and about 10, 12 laps here, start be a little bit more aggressive, and then as we get to 20 to go, really go for it. But right now, it's just about surviving.
Surviving this race is going to definitely be a good way to make it through. And I think that's how you got to take these elimination style races, especially this first one. We got 12 drivers all fighting for a spot. Right now, there's 3 that have been already put laps down. I'm in survival mode at this point, unless I'm for sure I feel like I can go for that win. I'm looking to survive as Brandon Hartwell looks to battle here with Steven Leffler to possibly get position. It looks like he'll get stuck on the inside and be dropping back there. Is still that 11 holding station in 5th there with the order tires is just showing. The tires not too much of a factor, so even though he has a couple extra sets, it may not be too much of a factor for him later in the race if he's able to take that. So this is just showing to him possibly here, maybe not want to give up that track position later either.
Yeah, track position definitely super important. I am kind of surprised that he's able to hold that position right there with those guys, kind of stacked up right behind him. But unfortunately, they just need a little bit more speed to be able to get around him. As we said before this race started, we thought it was going to be very, very tough to pass, and that's proven to be true. You definitely need, a push from 1 or 2 cars behind you to really make anything happen.
Seeing more and more drivers take chances. It will get a little tight there, having to check up his Mike Peters there as he catches up to the back bumper of another car, having to get by him. I tell you what, our schedule for the next 3 weeks after Auto Club, it's going to be a wild one nonetheless to say as we head off into Pocono next week for the Tricky Triangle. That place is going to be a tough one also in this next gen car. Then they had the New Hampshire in the next gen car where, man, you got to be looking at someone like Chuck Sweeting who dominated at Martinsville in the next gen car, possibly to see him go there and run very well. And then Atlanta Motor Speedway, they crown a champion. What a great track to do it is. It's been a special start to the playoffs so far. Cedric Hunter, look on the older tires, taking a dive on the one of Isaiah Sutherland. He tries to make something happen, but just cannot do it. Another good run here from the newcomer of Gary Slapnitsky. He's done a great job in that 78 machine to stay up front for majority of the night after starting 9th.
Yeah, made up those positions there from qualifying up in 2nd place, and not really doing anything special. Just holding his line, able to keep that momentum, being mistake free. And I think that at this point in the run right now, that's what these guys are going to need to pass somebody else. Is they're going to need that guy ahead of them to make a mistake, and that type of mistake right now is going to be getting to the throttle just half a second too soon, push a little bit wide on corner exit, having to lift a little bit, and very, very small mistake, but that's what it's going to take right now for these guys to try to get around the guy ahead of them.
Yeah, you also got to think also the 78, he goes to try to make a move here. He's got the 4800 Hayward, who's a teammate with Steven Stippy right behind him. That right there is going to make that move a lot harder, but you can see we don't see that 4th car of Isaiah Sutherland. He's about 4 car lengths back, even though the draft pulls them up into the picture there. that outer groove, that car there starting to drop back, and this line losing touch there. Southern luckily good run through 1 and 2 there, actually pulls them back up closer. But man, you had to start to worry maybe that line was going to drop back there as they go by Jason Adams to put him left.
Yeah, I have to wonder right now if, at this point in the run, if right front tire temp is starting to be an issue for maybe the one car and these other guys, whereas Steven Stympian in that clean air, able to hold pace. But yeah, the one car of Isaiah Sutherland starting to drop back here a little bit. I have to wonder if he's abused that right front just a little bit.
I tell you what, it looks like he's going to get the position taken away from him, possibly 2. Here's Mark Whitley. Great run from him, actually, to maybe get him a 2-for-1 deal. As here comes Steven Leffler along with Brandon Hartwell here in the 25 as they stack up on the back straightaway. The 11 of Cedric Hunter up top. He had the help of the 77 to get by the 1, but now the 77 trying to take position from him here. I tell you what, the 11 hanging on good with the older tires here as he's firing back, trying to take 4th.
Yeah, you can see, I mean, Mark Whitley had quite the run going on the 1 and the 11 car, but, trying to make the pass, get stuck on the inside line, not able to keep that momentum up, and, now he's stuck behind the 1 car, and now they're going to have to try to form something up to try that again, and, just extremely hard to pass. You really have to clear the guy by the time the corner ends to really submit that position for yourself. So, unfortunately, not good enough that time. Now he's going to look to the outside of the 1, and that definitely is the preferred lane up there. Is that going to work? And it looks like it will.
That it will. The 1 stuck on the bottom of Isaiah Sutherland. He's dropping back here. Oh,
Ooh.
The touch between Leffler and them. It goes around, and they wreck it on lap 46 to bring out the caution. 3rd of the night. And man, oh man, what a major one it is. Brandon Hartwell, Steven Leffler involved in this incident here. And the 1 also, Isaiah Sutherland, I believe that contact first came from there. And luckily, Chuck Sweeting, everybody else able to miss out of that from the playoff contender standpoint. That could have been a lot worse as we go back to the instant replay. As Steven Leffler, man, major damage for both him and that 72 machine. So we'll see right here. As we see, there's the contact initially from the 1 in the 77 or 72 machine there. Sends him around, hard collision into the wall. Hartwell also major damage. As you can see, the clips on both of those cars very much hurt. As man, that's going to be terminal, I believe, as they're going to have to get those things worked on pit road.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Hartwell right there. Just nowhere to go. Didn't expect to see that happen. And, unfortunately, it's just one of those nights. But, yeah, wow, just, that's the second one that we've caught live, I believe. And so you can just see how quickly things can change. Split-second decisions can lead to some wrecked race cars in a hurry.
Yeah, man, I tell you, that is, if you're Chuck Sweeting, he barely made it through that in the 75 machine. He's got to be breathing a sigh of relief. And then if your drivers like Brad Delph, Dave Bush, Jason Adams, they're saying, man, why could nobody that was a playoff driver be involved in that? Unfortunately for their case, no other playoff drivers scathed in that wreck there. Is at the moment, those would be the 2 going home of Dave Bush there, 10 laps down and 16 laps down for Jason Adams for your playoff contenders. And what a tough spot it is for him. As I believe we're coming down pit road. If you're the 11, you're definitely taking tires. The other group, they're probably questioning whether they take a say here, Brian.
Well, I was thinking about it, and we're just under halfway here. We know a full tank of gas gets you about 45 laps, so we're a little bit outside of that window. But do you take tires here, take a full tank, and then with 1 to go, do you come down pit road and top off, and then hope you get a couple cautions, and then just stay out the rest of the race? Because we've seen where tires not a huge factor. So can you just stay out for the rest of the race and maybe make that work for you?
Strategy galore. And ooh, look at that, the 78. Did he miss his pit box either, or did he just splash? That's just fuel only for the 78 machine of Gary Lapnitsky. Is he'll come out of his box, but I think majority of the field there, Brian, they elected to possibly take tires there.
And I think that's a smart decision. Just under halfway of the race, perfect time to take tires. So these guys will have one set left, I believe, whereas Cedric will have two sets. Um, sitting pretty good with the tire strategy sort of thing. So fuel is going to be their biggest worry as of right now.
Fuel is definitely on the mind for sure of this race. Always is at Auto Club, and here with 52 to go here when they cross the line. That I don't see that doable enough tank of fuel. So I think they're gonna have to at least stop one more time for a green flag stop, unless someone can save a major amount. I mean, it's possible. This is a place where you can save fuel. We're also in a drafting pack, so that helps a little bit there. So we'll have to watch how all that plays out. But again, everybody, thank you all for tuning here tonight. We've had some great numbers out there. A lot of people tuning in, hitting that thumbs up button, subscribing, hitting the bell notification button to let themselves be notified each and every time we go live here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. So if you haven't yet, make sure you hit those buttons so you can be notified. But again, thank you all for tuning out. It's been a pleasure to call tonight's action here to the start of the playoffs here for Sim Racing Unleashed. It's been a wild ride. Also, check out in that chat there, we got our merch there store there. So if you want some Freaky Fast merch to rep, and if you love us so much there, you can hit up that store and get yourself some Freaky Fast merch to wear around while you watch us. As I believe we are double file back up here. Yeah, and our pace car lights are off, so we're going to be going back green flag racing this time. It's going to be the 78 Gary Slapnitsky out front here, along with the 81 Steven Stippian, Hunter Hayward, Mark Willie, Chuck Sweeting. Your top five is right there. Three of the top five there are playoff drivers, so it's an important race here for them tonight to stay in position here. It's been a wild one here from the Auto Club Speedway. 3 cautions up to this point. We're going to see what we can do for the final half of the race here tonight, as we're going to be coming across the start-finish line here at any moment with the pace car pulling its way down. We're heading to the restart zone, and we're going to have 51 to go here when we take the green flag. Pace car's in. Green flag is in the air. And the 78 is off and away, man. What a start from Gary as he pulls out a gap with the help of Hunter Hayward. Does Hayward jump out to the outside? Yes, he does, down to 1. It stacks up, though, here.
Yeah, right now it'll be interesting to see. I believe the tires on that 78 compared to everybody else going to be the biggest difference in tires as we've have had so far tonight. As you see, 75, Chuck Sweeting, we were talking about him a little bit earlier, trying to stay in the back of the pack, staying out of the action, but here he is right in the middle of it, trying to take the lead.
Chuck Sweeting tried to drive up to the lead. We said, maybe he was sitting back there trying to stay out of trouble. Didn't want to get involved in this, but now he's right up in the thick of this here, battling for everybody up front. You also got a 3 of Kyle Heath there. He's drove up from 19th to 4th. Also, Clifton Ashley up from 22nd to 6th. As we got a lot of new faces and a lot of new drivers up in position here. So we're at halfway now here for 100 laps for our Termite Designs 200. It's getting spicy here as we head down the back straight. Look at the push and the shove here as the draft is just so powerful.
Yeah, and actually, I think right there, you saw Chuck. He was all by himself on the inside lane. I think he actually lifted to try to fit into that gap between Mark Whitley and Cedric Hunter, and he did get up there. But this guy's continuing to race all the way down. Hunter Hayward putting a huge block on Cedric Hunter there. And, these guys, again, just every position, a revolving door. It's super dynamic, extremely fun to watch. But 78, slowly but surely, losing positions here. We'll have to see if his decision to not take tires on the last pit stop was the right one to make.
Yeah, that's going to be a call that I think he's going to have to decide after a few moments what it's like. Is the top 3 now single filed out? It's Steven Stippy and Hunter Hayward. Cedric Hunter is the 3 of Kyle Heath there. Tries to slide up underneath the 11 as we're right on board with Chuck Sweeting. He's been stuck up top here, and like I said, he just wanted to survive this race, get through it nicely, and get to the next round along with Mark Willey there in the 77. But they're in the mix of things now. This could get ugly, and at any moment, you could be taken out of this race.
Yeah, and as a playoff driver, knowing that it's elimination style knockout, if I'm these guys up here, then yeah, of course, I want to win the race. But strictly speaking, playoffs, right now I'm safe. So I'm trying to be really conservative, making sure that I don't mess this up for myself. Right now I'm safe. I'm making it through the next round. I'm not going to try anything that's going to put that in jeopardy.
This is an interesting scenario, man. This with this package, you never get away from your competition, so you really stay stacked up, and it makes scenarios where at any moment you're not safe, and your playoff contentions and championship hopes could go out the window. But right now, the racing has been close. It's been tight. It's been at sometimes a little bit tighter than it needed to be, and it's been sideways. So that's what racing happens here at Auto Club, man. Is this package? It just does not let you get away. You're racing your competition each and every lap. Thank you all for tuning in here tonight. As always, on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. I see also out in the chat Kevin Bellins tuning in. He's our winner from our GT3 class there from our 6-hour event. So congrats again on that win, Kevin. Thanks for joining us again here, coming back from that 6-hour event to join us on our broadcast, man. It's a lot of appreciation from us up here, and also we can't wait to get our next charity event going. So we'll hopefully have details on that at some point here in the next few weeks, as we look to do some more charity work here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting and bring it up to speed. Is man, oh man, Jason, I'm slow in front of the field. That was so close there. He was up in the wall. The field split them. They're 4 wide. Whitley to the bottom. Cedric Hunter to the middle. Chuck Sweeting up top. The 3 of Kyle Heath. In stacking up with Zelms. The 1 of Sutherland. The 22 of Ashley. And here comes the 95 of Peters. It's all over the place here down the front straightaway Auto Club.
That slow lap car there really shuffled up the field. Had a little bit of moment of craziness, but as you can see, got a little bit more organized and a little bit more spaced out here. First and second had a little bit of a gap, but that draft allowing everybody to get right back up to him. Cedric Hunter right beside Hunter Hayward there, with Mark Whitley on their outside. All of them following Steven Stympian. Steven Stympian being very consistent. He's got a nose for that clean air. He's always able to find it and get it and keep it. Just being very consistent, mistake free, keeping everybody behind him. Good race for him so far.
It really has been a good race for a lot of these guys up here, man. They've been dicing it back and left and forth and right, and they've been really putting on a show for us here as we continue on here on lap 57 of 100 here for the Termite Designs 200. Man, it's been great racing up to this point. Playoff action, as we're going to be eliminating 2 drivers here tonight from our top 12 playoff contenders. We're going to see how the rest of the action continues here tonight, as we're going to head to our first commercial break of the night and have a quick break up here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We'll be right back here, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, side-by-side action here as they're racing hard up front. And we are back here, ladies and gentlemen, after that quick commercial break. Man, up front, Mark Whitley, he is able to take the lead. It was Dyson left and right. These guys got wild. They said commercial break. Let's show all the action we possibly can. It's here Stippian to the outside of the 77 in the middle of the corner. It's 3 wide for the lead. Hayward down low. Cedric Hunter going to help the 48. It may be the bottom that goes here, and the Sutherland up top with the 1. Whitley in the middle is going to get split.
Yeah, man, you know, we usually only talk about the sucker hole at Daytona and Talladega, but Mark Whitley, victim of the sucker hole here at an auto club tonight. And Hunter Hayward, Steven Simpian side by side. We seen them racing pretty hard during the break there. Steven putting a block on Hunter Hayward as, oh, Hunter Hayward come right up in front of the 1 car. Gonna have to check up for him as they continue just to be right on top of each other on lap 62.
Man, I tell you, this has changed so much. This car here is definitely a little bit different, I believe, than it has been out throughout the season. The runs guys can generate is a lot better, but right now I think Cedric Hunter, he may be the driver that's left out. He's on the bottom all by himself as Hayward, Stippian pull up top. In that 11, it drops back. He'll have to try to formulate something else here and try to slide up in front of Clifton Ashley in the 10.
Yeah, and you can see these guys, you know, like Steven Simpian, Hunter Hayward, and Isaiah Sutherland are top 3 right now. Part of the reason why I think they're up front is because they're just following their momentum. They're not trying to do anything too out of the ordinary, trying not to make too much happen. And that's why they're able to stay up here. They're just keeping that momentum up, not putting their position at risk. You know, if Isaiah Sutherland, if he tries to pass Hunter Hayward here, the risk is he could lose 3, 4, 5 positions. So, you know, being conservative at some points can pay dividends to you in the long run.
It really, really can, man. And now we're riding on board here with Clifton Ashley in the 10 machine. He's right behind Cedric Hunter in the 11. It's single file now back to that 10th position in our top 10 here. As you can see, look at the checkups in the corner. That's what happens. It spans out here as you enter the corner because everybody driving it at such a different rate with the draft. You have to check up for the driver ahead, as it's been wild up to this point, man. I can only expect how the finish is going to go with the runs they're generating. It's just really, really big and just pushing major heavy pushes down these straightaways that could lead to some major instances. Now the 1 jumps to the 48's outside. He's going to try to make something happen here, possibly off a 2, but it looks like the 48 closes the door.
Yes, you can't quite get it done. The 1 car didn't have much up there. If the 3 was a little bit closer to the 1's bumper there on exit, maybe he would have had a little bit more momentum to try to stick his nose on the outside of the 48 there. 1 car definitely right on top of Hunter Hayward right there, as we see Cedric Hunter looking to the inside of the 3. Who's going to have the momentum here? And it looks like it's going to be the outside lane, as that 3 car has the draft of the cars ahead of him. Cedric Hunter going to fall victim to Clifton Ashley there, and possibly Mark Whitley, as you know, that trying to get that position from the 3 car might cost him 2 positions here.
Very well might. Now here comes Mark Whitley. Here comes the 95 of Mike Peters. Here comes the 75 Chuck Sweeting. And next in line will be Dylan Zelms. Oh, he drops low, actually. Now he's going to drop back high, as here comes Dave Bush and Jason Adams also on the bottom lane. This is going to stack up a little bit here as they all get through nice and tidy. But yeah, it just shows you go for 1 move like that, Brian, and you could be shoved all the way back into the wrong position. And now Cedric Hunter got to fight his way back up there. But it is look for his sake, you're not gonna lose the pack here. You're gonna be able to stay in line, but you definitely lost position.
You know, it's one of those deals, you know, talking about mistakes again, you know, that was a mistake, but you don't realize it until you've already made it. You know, you think you're doing something good, getting a position, and then before you know it, you've lost 4, and now you're trying to claw your back way just to get to net 0. You know, forget about trying to gain a position. Now you're just trying to get back what you lost. So, you know, unfortunate, but that's, you know, kind of what these drivers are dealing with you know, this track and this aero package. You know, again, just sometimes being conservative is the right choice.
Right on board here at the 73, Larry Blair. He's one of our playoff contenders here tonight. Doing a great job running that 11th spot here. Nice and safe position here for the playoff standings, and doing a great job. But about 4 seconds back here from the lead, as this is our second pack that formulated about back here from the 10th position on back. So, you know, they're actually pretty safe here if something happens for that front back here.
Yep, back up front. Looks like we've got a little bit of action going on. Hunter Hayward getting passed by the 3 and possibly the 95. Mike Peters, I gotta say, last time I saw him, he was at the back of this pack and has somehow made his way up to the front. So now 2 by 2, the 3 of Kyle Heath looking to try to take the lead from Steven Simpian. He's got that outside lane, the preferred lane right now. Is Hunter Hayward going to be able to push Steven Simpian back to the lead here? I don't think so. But only turn 3 and 4 will tell.
Yeah, this is getting definitely wild. You know, in what I can tell you, Brian, from earlier in the season, it was very tough to get a run on the leaders. Oh, big side drive for Steve Stimpy. That really mountain. This is really going to stack things up here. Even though the outside line has more cars, that side drive was able to slow him down there to really check him up in the corner. And you're going to have Hunter Hayward there also with his teammate behind. But, man, if we'd have seen teammates out front like this with the 81 and the 48 earlier in the season, they wouldn't have been getting runs around them. They wouldn't have had really a chance because that second car plays such a big factor to that first car being able to stay safe out front. But tonight we've seen the car in third, the car in fourth. They've been able to make moves, get to the outside, get to the inside, make stuff happen. And it's definitely thrown a whole different spile into this style of racing here with this car.
And we just saw Hunter Hayward able to push Steven Simpian back up to the front after Steven Simpian put that huge side draft onto the 3. A little bit of contact between the 95 and the 48 there. But, you know, that side draft move, a very small move, but pays huge dividends. It's a risky move, but, you know, able to get Steven Simpian back up to the lead if he can clear the 3. Not able to do it right now, so these guys, as they're 3 wide for 4th place there. So Hunter looking to the outside of the 95 and 48. So, you know, just that small move right there, able to check up the pack, has really shuffled things again.
It really has here. Hayward now dropped back. Stimpy now starting to drop back. And look at Whitley. He was the one all the way back there. Now he's up to the front. So it's, like you said, it's shuffled the whole deck, and it's showing you got to be out front when the right scenario comes, and we still have to make a green flag pit stop, in my opinion. So who's going to wait to the last moment? Who's going to go pretty early? That's going to be a big question. Is behind there. Mike Pierce makes it 3 wide, but he's going to be stuck on the bottom now, dropping back as there goes Zelms around the outside. There goes the 75 of Sweeting, and that just shows you can go from the front to the back in a matter of 2 laps.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I know Steven Simpian right now, rather frustrated. You know, him and Hunter Hayward up front, just minding their own business, but the guys behind him decide to get organized and you know, kind of do a collaborative effort to try to go get that lead, and was successful. And so if you're Steven Simpian, you're just a sitting duck. There's really not much you can do besides side draft. And, you know, he attempted that, and it worked for a little bit. But, you know, just as the leader, not much you can do just because your options are very limited.
Your options are very limited as a leader here, it seems like. Looks like Ashley put the 5 of Zelms up into the wall. That checks him up, but looks like he'll be able to stay within grasp here. But we've seen damage at any type here on these cars can be detrimental, and any little arrow deflection of the fenders can make you lose time on these straightaways. That will make you lose this lead draft pack here. But up front, Cedric Hunter, I think he's going to the lead with a major move on Kyle Heath here, but the help is to the 3 machine of the 81 and the 48 as they head down the 1. Cedric Hunter still trying to work the bottom here for the lead.
And yeah, you know, Steven Simpian and Hunter Hayward, they did drop back to, I think, about 5th, 6th place, and already back to 3rd and 4th here, looking to take the lead. And I think that's a large part of that is just the 48 staying committed to the rear bumper of the 81. You know, he's committed to pushing the 81. Those 2 cars working together. You know, there's the whole saying of 8 tires is better than 4. Usually we talk about that as at short tracks in the corner, but here at Auto Club, you know, 8 tires better than 4 as far as pushing the guy ahead of you.
It definitely is. It definitely helps the case there for these drivers to be able to you know, have that bit of help here and push forward. So like you said, 8 tires are better than 4. Well, yeah, 12 was better than 8 too. So we're seeing that definitely equate to that. But Hayward, he wasn't able to stay attached here. Cedric Hunter and Steve Stimpy able to break a little bit here away, but Hayward still trying to claw his way away from that 3 of Kyle Heath so they can have a 3-man stranglehold here as Cedric Hunter, I believe he's most likely working with these two. Is that I know they communicate through the race majority of the time during these races. As the pack continues to dice it out here, it looks like the 3 of Heath still able to hold the outside line. Peters has been able to work his way up here along with Sweeting and Ashley. So it keeps shuffling the deck with these group of 9 drivers here to really bring this to the end of the race. But that's the thing. I think the green flag pit stop's going to be coming in here. Would you, like I said earlier, do drivers make it early or do they wait to the last minute to try to, hope for that caution to maybe help yourself out? But at the same time, this place, you usually don't go a lap down if you're this close to the lead, making a pit stop. It's a questionable call here to possibly be coming down soon.
Yeah, earlier in the race, I think maybe staying out as long as possible may have been the best strategy to take, with those cautions happening quite frequently. But at this point in the race right now, where we've got these guys, I mean, single file, pretty spread out, I think your options for pit strategy are kind of wide open right now. You don't have to risk a caution coming out. As you do see, Cedric Hunter, Steven Stimpy, and Hunter Hayward all coming down pit road right now, as well as Clifton Ashley and Larry Blair, Gary Slabinski coming in. So roughly about maybe a third of the field coming in this lap.
Yeah, this is it's interesting to say. I figured it was going to start to happen just due to the fact of you kind of run this race almost backwards type of deal, almost like a road course where the tires aren't as big of a issue for everybody. So right now, I think they're running it backwards. They're trying to get where they can make it to the end of this race for sure. And if a caution does come out, they cycle to the front with track position. So right now, they're hitting pit road. We'll see what Kyle Heath looks like. The 3, he comes from the lead. So it looks like Mike Peters, Chuck Sweeting, Mark Whitley, Dylan Zelms, and Yarrow all stay out here in our top 6.
Man, that's really unfortunate for Kyle Heath. We've showcased throughout the whole, well, not we, but the drivers have showcased throughout the whole race just how important draft is. Kyle Heath comes out and says, hey, I'm going to pit this lap, hoping somebody else would come with him, but unfortunately nobody is going to come with him. So now he's going to come out of pit road all by himself. Hopefully he can pick up the pack of guys that pitted the last lap. But, if he wants to stay up near the front of this race, going to have a little bit of luck, maybe catch the draft off of some sort of pack. But right now, going to be all by himself.
Yeah, that's tough. It's like Daytona and Talladega. You need friends and you need help to work with you. And Steven Stimpy and Cedric Hunter, they've been able to get out together. But man, Hunter Hayward, I believe he had to come down the second time. He may have sped here, Brian. I'm unsure what exactly happened for that number 48 machine.
Yeah, unfortunate. Just a small mistake causes you to lose the draft, lose a whole bunch of positions. As we see, is that Cedric Hunter? No, that's a different car. Never mind. But Cedric Hunter pushing Steven Stimpian past these guys that have not pitted yet, trying to get their lap back. Looks like they're going to be able to do that this lap, just in case a caution decides to come out. We've got other guys coming out of pit road here. Yeah, Hunter Hayward, I guess, serving a penalty of some sort coming out of pit road. Mark Whitley coming out, and Chuck Sweeting coming out as well. So these guys, even though they pitted on different laps, able to come out roughly in the same part of the track. So I'm sure that draft will cause them to suck up to each other here shortly, and we'll be right back on top of each other before we know it.
Yeah, I think Cedric Hunter and Steven Stimpy, they'll try their best to break that draft, try to get away. They may be within the gap to do that. I mean, it's close between that group there. I mean, I would think that the 3 there, Kyle, he's starting to get a little bit of a toe, but you'll never know here till a second. But luckily for the 3's sake, he's going to have this 75 of Chuck Sweeting and the 77 of Mark Whitley to come and help. Those 2 fast cars should be able to help his cases. Still, Mike Peters out front, Dylan Zelms leading, Michael Yarrow in 3rd, Kevin Roy 4th, and Nicholas Loby 5th as our top, I believe, 7 have yet to pit.
Yeah, with the I think with what we have found with the iRacing physics, it tends to be about within 1 to 1.2 seconds behind a car, the car ahead of you, is when you start sniffing the draft a little bit. So if Cedric Hunter and Steven Stipien are able to push themselves up ahead of the 3 car by about a second and a half, I think they'll be safe, and that's what they've done here. But there are a couple cars in between them right now. We got Robert Chiswick there, and then Brad Delph in between Cedric and the 3 car there. So the 3 car are going to be able to get a sniff draft off of them. So once he gets past them, is he going to be within the range of Cedric Hunter to sniff his draft?
Well, that's going to be a good question here, Brian, for sure. And we're about to see how it all shakes out here, man. It's getting down to the portion of this race where it's go time. You got to bring everything you rung everything you brung, and from what I'm seeing, the lap time's about a half second slower than those of Steven Stipien and Cedric Hunter, who right now are 8th and 9th on the board as we continue to wait for our pit cycle to segment through. As we do wait for this pit cycle to segment through, we're going to head to our final commercial break of the night here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, and we'll be back here in a few moments as everything and all these drivers look to cycle through pits. And we're back here, everybody, after that quick commercial break as we're heading down to look to get 10 to go here in the next 2 laps. I tell you what, Brian, we've seen a special race so far here tonight. Now Mike Peters, Dylan Zelms, Michael Yarrow, Kevin Roy, Mark Koshik, James Bryan, Nicholas Lobe, our top 7 have yet to pit here. What kind of strategies are they going to be playing? Man, I tell you what, Brian, right here, I don't know what's going to go down strategy-wise, but we could see a strategic play here come down for a victory.
Yeah, I think based off of my quick math, they're going to be about about 5, 6, 7 laps short. So they're going to have to be coming in here within the next 2 or 3 laps. So I think definitely best case for them, they're hoping for a caution, but just with how spaced everybody is right now, I don't think that's going to happen. Could be surprised, but they may be able to come in and get just enough fuel and come out and maybe stay ahead of Steven Stympian and Cedric Hunter, which I think is who the lead would cycle out to. But that's going to be a tall order for them. They're really going to have the perfect pit entry, perfect pit box entry and exit, and then perfect pit exit.
I tell you, do they play strategy, Brian, with the pit stop? Do they, because they have a less laps here. They got to put less fuel in their car. Like, are we going to see a splash here? No tires. Are we going to see something different here? I mean, I would say a pit stop usually around here is taking upwards of around, I believe, 38 seconds. I mean, they're 33 seconds behind the leader. I think they should jump them with a normal pit stop. But if they play something here a little bit different, they could come out similar around here to Cedric Hunter and Steven Stympian, who are gaining very considerably.
Yeah, I mean, you only need about 5, 6 laps of fuel. So I'd imagine you stick 3 gallons in it just in case there's green, white checkers, and that should only take maybe about 4 seconds, if that. So if they do that, if they just come in for a splash and go, they could come out right behind them, and if they get organized, able to push each other, we could see quite the exciting finish.
Excitement definitely around the corner here with 9 laps to go. We're thinking it's in the hands of Steven Stympian and Cedric Hunter here, but unless someone pulls a rabbit out the hat here, I think it's those two fighting for the win. Behind them, though, Clifton, Ashley in the 10, Chuck Sweeting, and Mark Willie, that group of 3, they have been the ones trying to run them down. Right now, Clifton Ashley at 41.032. The Cedric Hunter is 41.022. So matching lap times. It's about a 3-second gap back to those 3. And I tell you what, I don't think they're going to close that gap down. So right now, Cedric Hunter and Steven Stympian, they're going to have the ability here. If everybody ahead of them does hit pit road and they do transition to the lead, they're going to have the ability to race each other here with a gap that they could battle for the last 2 laps and not lose.
Yeah, they do have to be careful, though. I think they can really only battle for the last maybe 2 laps, maybe possibly even only the last lap. Because once those 2 guys start racing side by side, you got this organized group of 3 cars behind them. Mark Willie, Chuck Sweeting, Clifton Ashley, they're going to be pushing up until they get to the back bumper of Cedric. So they start seeing those guys race, they're going to be pushing even harder. And depending on when Cedric decides to start racing Steven Stympian, that could allow them to catch him.
With 7 to go here, Mike Peters, Dylan Zelms, they have a 3-second gap back to Michael Yarrow in the 98 machine. And Kevin Roy back 18 seconds in fourth. Mark Koschik, I think he's on pit road. Yes, he is. So those drivers hitting pit road. Right now, it's only 3 drivers left out there. The top 3, 95 and Mike Peters. As Yarrow comes down this time, Brian, I think you nailed it there. About 7 to 5 laps is what you felt like they'd have to come down to pit road. Right here, 6 to go. I think we're going to see these top 2 hit pit road here at any moment.
Yeah, I think I would be really surprised if they don't come down pit road this lap. They have really stretched the fuel out to this point. So I think if they manage to take it another lap here, they've really committed to saving fuel this run, which is very tough to do at Auto Club. And based off of what they're doing this lap, looks like they are going to stay out. So might be a little bit off with my fuel mileage.
Looks like they're going to stay out here. Another lap. They bring it to 5 to go. Now, man, 5 laps to go. I don't know if they're going to stretch it. I mean, Michael Yarrow, their pitting was 6 to go. That tells me I think he felt like he definitely could not have a position to make that. But he already hit pit road. And Cedric Hunter and Steven Stympian jumped way out ahead of him, who he was 3 seconds behind these groups. So if these guys hit pit road, it's going to be a similar gap there. So Stympian and Cedric Hunter should have a gap here if they do hit pit road. But I tell you what, it could get a little bit interesting here if Mike Peters and Dylan Zelms to slow the pace down enough to make it to the end. As it looks like Peters pulling onto the access road. Same with Dylan Zelms. They're both hitting pit road here with 5 to go. Steven Stympian and Cedric Hunter are going to be looking to take the lead as they come out of turn 2.
unfortunately, I think Mike Peters might be caught for speeding right there. He crossed the line going about 90 miles an hour. So, fortunately for him, might get caught speeding. But yes, Steven Simpy and Cedric Hunter gonna cycle out to the leaders here with Clifton Ashley about 2 seconds behind him. So Cedric Hunter, I think, pretty clear to do whatever he wants here. But again, gonna be tough to pass Steven Simpy with that clean air.
Well, the other thing is now we're going to have Robbie Darnell in the 44, a lap down car. If he comes up here as a factor, he technically could be the push around for one of these drivers. Who's he going to go with, though? That's the big question they're going to have to ask themselves. 4 to go here. It's cycled the lead now. Steven Stippian out front, our pole setter, along with Cedric Hunter, the driver who started second. It's our front 2 row. It's going to be a battle between these two as they round out of 3 and come out of 4 this time. It's going to be 3 to go here, Brian. It's going to get very spicy for the lead. And I tell you what, even behind that, Clifton Ashley, Chuck Sweeting, and Mark Whitley, I think those 3 are going to be looking to do battle until the very last moment also, because they're trying to catch this lead group.
Yeah, and it's just crazy how green flag pit stops can change a race. You know, earlier in the race when we had those cautions, these guys right on top of each other. But as soon as we have green flag pit stops, all of a sudden these guys 2, 3, 4 seconds apart from each other. So green flag pit stops, extremely important part of the race. And, you know, this race right here, the situation we find ourselves in right now just showcases that where, you know, the race for the win is strictly between 2 guys right now, not like it was early in the race where any 1 of 10 guys could have won it.
Coming out of 4, it's going to be 2 to go here. Cedric Hunter, Steven Stippian up front. It's going to be a battle between these 2 here as long as we stay green to the end. Cedric Hunter in a great spot. You also got Robbie Darnell, the lap car there. He's going to play a pivotal role in this. Brian, put yourself in Cedric Hunter's shoes here. What does he need to do here in these final moments?
He's got to do just about anything he can. I think his best shot here is going to try to be able to generate a run coming out of 2, get side by side with Steven Stippian down the backstretch on the final lap, able to side draft him a little bit, really send it into 3, try to clear him in the center of 3 and 4, pull up ahead of him and block his run, whatever run Steven Stippian may have, as here we go, white flag.
Freaky fast white flag. 1 to go here for the elimination race, round number 1. Steven Stippian out front, Cedric Hunter here in second. Looks like Chuck Sweeting, he's made the pass for the 3rd position as him and Mark Whitley have gotten past Clifton Ashley. Out of 2 though. What's Hunter going to do? I don't know if he's got the run. He's going to have to set something here out of 4. Down the back straightaway, it's still a half a car length between the top 2 drivers. Hunter to the bottom of the racetrack. He goes inside. 81 is Stippian on the outside. They almost look to touch doors here coming off the corner. Side draft as they touch. It's going to be a race to the finish line. Side draft from the 11. The 81, though, has the momentum. It looks like Stippian's going to pull it off here in elimination round number 1.
Wow, what a race for Steven Stippian. Dominant most of the race. Pole sitter, able to finish first. You can't ask for a better start to the playoffs.
What a drive from the 81 and the 11. Mark Whitley able to take 3rd there in the final few moments as he's almost got a tie there with Chuck Sweeting, as Mark Whitley always knows how to break ties for some reason here at iRacing. He takes home 3rd as, man, what a wild finish to the end of this race here. Looks like it's going to come down to Dave Bush and Jason Adams, going to be the unfortunate 2 that are going to be out of the playoffs here tonight. After tonight's race, that is an unfortunate start for them. And, man, I definitely feel for those 2 as they were definitely taken out of this race here in unfortunate scenarios. But Steven Stippian going to be the driver to celebrate here tonight. What a drive it was for him. Like you said, Brian, he won here in dominating fashion. He told me tonight, he messaged me, he said, watch me go out here and get the dub, Zach. And, man, he proved it. He felt it, and it was in the air and meant to be as the 81 pulls it off here tonight, gets the victory. He'll be moving on to the next round, the round of second round for 10 playoff drivers as they battle at Pocono next week to separate another 2 drivers from it down to 6. And it's going to be, or down to 8, sorry, as it's going to be a wild one nonetheless as he pulls in the victory lane. We're going to go to a quick break here as we find our top 3 drivers here and have a chat with them about their night. And we are back here, everybody, for our post-race interviews after tonight's Termite Designs 200 at the Auto Club Speedway for 200 miles, 100 laps. Our top three is going to be Mark Whitley, Cedric Hunter, and Steven Stippian. First, we're going to talk to the driver of the number 77 machine. That's Mark Whitley. Let's hear from him after pulling off a top three here tonight at Auto Club. Hey, Mark, it's Zach up in the booth, buddy. How you going?
I got you.
Hey, man, well, I tell you what, a tough night out there on the track, man. It just seems like very much wild. Can't get away from the competition, and very much, a shuffle of the deck type of race. And, man, you're going to end up bringing home third nonetheless after it looks like tying Chuck Sweeten, too. So, somehow always pulling off the tie you are in the 77 machine, man. How was the speed out here tonight, and how do you feel about surviving and getting through to the next round?
Yeah, not gonna lie, survival was probably the main thing tonight because I figured these bigger tracks. I mean, it's just a Daytona, Talladega type thing, and I don't know what it was. Something in the water. Everybody was driving like idiots earlier in the race, and I feel like they thought it was a 20-lap race when it was 100. And I don't know. There's parts of it I kind of feel like I had to drive like a same way just to get away from them. But long race, eventually got that green flag run at the end, and I almost came down when Stimp and them did, but I figured I'd stay out a little bit longer, and I probably should have just come in them, been able to be up there with them, and came out behind them. We were catching them a little bit, but couldn't ever get the line going pretty good, and they were pretty tight up there, so couldn't really do anything. And at last lap there, it was every man for himself. Me and Chuck got a run off cliff. We went inside, and then I tried to get a draft off him going down the back, and drove it into 3 and 4, got up beside him. Then he started drafting me off the corner, and then thankfully there was a lap car right up in front of me. I think it was Brad. He was on the apron. I just literally got up under him and just was trying to use his draft. And if he wouldn't have been there, I wouldn't have got it. I know it says it's a tie, but they gave it to me, so I'll take it. But honestly, I'm not a fan of this track and this car combo. It just, I don't know. It's makes people drive like idiots, I feel like, especially that early in a race. But we survived. That's all that matters, especially this elimination format where, bottom two guys are always going to be eliminated every race. So my main goal was just to keep all four corners on it and finish the race, and we did it and came away to top three. So can't complain too much on it.
Yeah, man, it looked like rush hour traffic out there at some points. And definitely, I could understand your standpoint there, man, from the driver's seat, how it could have felt out there, and some of the moves being made with this type of car. So, yeah, it was wild for our standpoint up here too, man. So I tell you what, good job surviving here tonight. But Pocono next week, I feel like it could set up to be a little bit similar to this, but maybe also a little bit different too with the layout of the corners, but still a very high speed, very much draft oriented track, man. How you feel about going in there? Is it another survival race for you?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much all of these are going to be survival up until the last one. But Pocono, I feel like at least going off the last couple times I've raced there a couple times the next gen. You still got to worry about the draft, but it's honestly easier to break the draft. Doing a little weaving. And the corners are flat enough where tire wear starts to become an issue. So as long as you keep the tires on it, it'll still be a little packed, but they won't be as big as they were tonight. So it's just gonna be about trying to be up front, stay up, keep the tires on it, and then if we get a good long green flag run, just make sure you're in the right position and at the end of the race when it matters.
Well, man, I tell you what, great run for you tonight to bring it home in third. They're tying Chuck Sweeten, but able to just get it into the next 4 digits zone. So congrats on third, man, and surviving again tonight, because we know how any moment anybody could have been knocked out of this race as we see T drivers going home here tonight, man. But before I let you get out here, Mark, anybody want to send a shout out to, buddy?
Yeah, big shout out Harpoon Designs. We put together this awesome playoff scheme, just trying to change it up, do something new and flashy for the playoffs. Looks great. If you want to get one done by him, check him out. He's got a website, harpoondesign.com. He's also got a whole showroom full of cars on Trading Paints if you want to check out some of his previous work. And shout out to you guys putting on a good broadcast. Should be fun to go back and watch. Always A+ effort in the booth. Can't complain. And big shout out to all the league drivers, especially at the end of the race. We went green at the end, and that's all you can really ask for.
Definitely so, man. Well, I'll tell you what, Mark, congrats on third, buddy. We'll catch you next time you're out there, and you have a great night.
That sounds good, guys.
All right, everybody. That was your third place driver of Mark Whitley in the 77 machine. He was able to bring home that top 3 finish by the hair on his chin. And I tell you what, driver tried to get there. It was a side by side finish, but just not enough for the 11 machine of Cedric Hunter. He's going to bring it home second tonight, exactly where he started, but still a great battle with him with Steven Stimpy. And let's hear from his side of the perspective. Hey, Cedric, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, buddy?
Yes, I do. How's it going?
Well, man, it's going great. I tell you what, wild race tonight. It looks like you could shuffle a deck of cards as the positions change back and forth. One line going, one line moving. Man, take us through this race here. As you were able to get hooked up with Stimpy there at the end, but man, up to that point, it was wild.
Yeah, absolutely. I knew coming into this race that the next gen cars will distract, but it's just been Talladega 2.0. So I wanted people to work with. You kind of hate to rely on that, especially outside of plate racing. But yeah, coming into this race, just working with Smoke Inc. and needing to put myself in a good position. The call was to try and I knew we weren't going to make enough fuel, so I figured if we short pin, we would all work together, like we have it throughout the whole race, that we would have just been able to pull a huge gap on him. And then the Hunter just making a little mistake with the speeding penalty. Thought it would have been our demise, but I told Stimpy, just, let's keep our heads down. I'll stay hooked to his bumper, and hopefully we can keep that gap and come home 1-2.
Well, man, y'all were able to hold that gap there, 1-2. But take us through the battle there at the end. You had one shot at it. I know you didn't want to give up time, so you waited till the very last moment there to make that move, and it almost worked. I mean, you had it, dead even there coming off 4, but it was just too much momentum, and just couldn't get the side draft to implement.
Yeah, like you said, didn't want to give up too much time coming to the end. I knew I was going to make a move on the final lap. I even told him, I'll stick to your bumper until we get the white flag. As long as there's a gap, it's expect me to get off your bumper. And kind of got unlucky with the draft that he got from a lapper in the front stretch that kind of just built that gap. And I really wanted to set him up in 1 and 2 and try to get the draft and battle with him throughout the whole lap, not just one corner. But made a last ditch effort to kind of just sail it off in there, and it got tight, and I think we rubbed. I didn't get any contact, but it was really close. But just last ditch effort to try and get the win. It didn't work out, but I can't really go wrong with second place. I told you I was going to talk to you, by the way, before the race. It was going to happen. I was going to finish in the podium.
Well, man, you definitely pulled it off. You qualified second, able to bring home second. You've done a few of the next gen races here at SRU, not all of them, but you've done a few that have a little experience in it. We've seen updates with the aero package a little bit here, especially with Daytona and Talladega. Do you think it affected it here tonight? Because we definitely see more passing. We've been seeing early in the season, it was somewhat of a single file train when you got out front and you got a couple cars that could get hooked up and stay together. But tonight it seemed like other drivers could formulate stuff.
Yeah, it certainly it helped because I feel like the draft is a little bit more powerful than it was before, and they've also implemented side drafting. It wasn't as noticeable as the Gen 6, but it was definitely there tonight. So that's why you kind of saw people just shuffling, and you kept seeing runs. And I mean, you could basically run flat foot up until lap 20, and then the front wear was, or the front tire was just really starting to wear out. So, although it doesn't show it on iRacing's percentages, the right front surprisingly does and did wear. So, that was good news. But this was, it was Talladega 2.0. It was pretty obvious, I think, with the package and everything. I am super excited for them to implement the new package coming in with the higher horsepower and the lower downforce. So even though sometimes this package can promote good racing, I'm hoping that the next one they nail it on the head and it just perfection.
Yeah, we're definitely hoping that update will be interesting too as this car develops and continues to grow here on the iRacing, man. Well, I tell you, Cedric, congrats tonight on second, buddy. You put on a good show for us. Anybody want to send a shout out to you before we let you get out of here?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I want to give a shout out to you have Brian in the booth for the first time in forever. So to my teammates at Category 5, which include both of you, and then a bunch of other guys that run in other leagues that we run in. So shout out to everyone at Cat 5. Congratulations to Stimkit for the win, as well as wanting to work with me and then putting ourselves in that position to win. Shout out to the league and its drivers and everyone out there tuning in, all the fans and for UFAS broadcasting, man. You guys always do a great job. And as always, I'll probably go back and watch it and be impressed. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Cedric. We appreciate the kind words, buddy. Congrats, like I said, on second. We will catch you next time out there on the racetrack. You have a great night, man.
You too, man. Take care.
All right, everybody. That was your second place driver, Cedric Hunter in the 11 machine, able to bring it home here tonight in that spot. But we're going to move on to the man and one of the playoff drivers getting the win, the driver who won the regular season championship. He's trying to go win a championship, and what a great way to start off his playoff campaign is to get the win here tonight. Auto Club, like I said, he told me he was going to win tonight. He said, watch, I'm going to do it. And I said, I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be up in the booth. So I got to definitely watch him pull it off here tonight in dominant fashion. Let's hear from the 81 of Steven Stimpy. Hey, Steven, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man.
What's up, buddy? Got a copy.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I was telling the people before I pulled you up here, you told me in a message before the race, I'm going to win this thing. Just take me through the confidence level and, backing up that confidence, man, because you dominated here tonight. It seemed like you would have the lead, lose the lead at some moments, and then work your way right back into it.
Yeah, man, it was a fun race. I've always enjoyed Auto Club. I've always had some good showings here, even with the old car. It's a fun track. I'm glad they're bringing it back this next season for NASCAR. But it was you stay out front. Had some teamwork thanks to my guys at Smoke Inc. And Cedric there working with me. Appreciate that. It was just slicing and dicing, working that air. That's what it was all about tonight, and trying to get back up to the front when you lose it. The high line was so strong, and if you're able to get on somebody's quarter panel and suck them back, you're going to overtake them again. And I was just staying patient and doing that. And hitting the pit strategy too. That was a big key to the race with me and Cedric there.
It definitely was, man. Definitely the key strategy to get y'all guys to gap the ballot out down to the end. And this is something I asked Mark because both you guys involved in the playoffs. How nerve-wracking it was here tonight, man. No fast repairs. The high stakes racing that y'all were doing also with pack style racing like this. I mean, you got to be in the back of your mind saying, man, that right there could have been the end of my playoffs right there. But man, you're able to win here tonight, move on. But it just shows in these elimination style playoffs, you're never safe. And take us through that mindset because it's got to be tough.
Well, being the regular season champion, I actually get a free pass.
Oh, well.
So, but I'm not racing like that. I'm just going out there having fun and competing because free pass don't mean nothing to me. I want to show it if I win. You know what I mean? I said at the beginning of the season that I'm going to, put everybody on notice to try to win a championship this year. And I'm not going to lay back and, just let my free pass go every week. I want to go out there and prove it. But to your point, I mean, it was fun racing. I mean, it was slicing and dicing. It was nerve-wracking. I'm super bummed out that Dave Bush didn't make it to the next round. He was a good teammate of mine. Kind of bad luck there getting into a wreck there. But, that just goes to show that, these type of racing, it happens. And you just got to stay clean and hope you're not the one that gets bad luck. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely got to stay away from that bad luck, buddy. But I tell you what, I think something good is sitting around the corner for you is because it's Pocono, and I know you at Pocono as one of your favorite tracks there. So, taking a next-gen car into there, can we see a back-to-back victory for this 81 machine?
Hey, you know me all too well. Love Pocono. Got my first career win here in the league. Robert remembers that race. It was a show on Father's Day. Got a win for my dad. But I love Pocono. Had a win a couple of weeks ago in another league on Wednesday nights at Pocono. So hoping to be there and just continue to compete. It was a long week. All the family had COVID. I'm still struggling to try and get over it. So just glad I was able to get a win. That makes me feel a little bit better tonight.
Well, man, yeah, that was awesome to see you pull it off here. Another victory in your back pocket here for this season. And what a way to do it here, Auto Club, in such a dominant fashion, Steven. So congrats on the win here tonight, man. Before we let you get out of here, as always, anybody you want to send a shout out for that 81 machine?
Yeah, Cedric, Shockbait, woo-ah. Want me to say that? Cedric always working well. I feel like that should have been Talladega a couple of weeks ago, but he was able to finish that race. Me and him were working well together. But huge shout out to him working with me and then just going at it for the last lap, trying to see who could win. But obviously, you guys with the broadcasting, you guys do a tremendous job all the time. Every race that you guys do. Love watching the broadcast. And then obviously everybody at the league here, all my teammates out there, Smoke Inc., Dave, and Hunter. It's good to see Hunter out here tonight. And then my dad watching out there. Always appreciate the support. My beautiful fiance obviously let me do this week in and week out every Sunday. And my 6-month-old baby boy, time's flying. He's going to be in this wheel pretty soon. But look forward to next week at Pocono and seeing you guys and hopefully put on another show.
All righty, buddy. You have a great night, Steven. Congrats on the win, man. And we will catch you next time out there at Pocono, man.
Sounds good, guys. You guys have a good week.
All right, everybody. That was your race winner here tonight, the Termite Designs 200 here at the Auto Club Speedway. That's Steven Stympian. And like I said, I thought he had a lot of line, but he's got a free pass. So that's the whole goal of getting that regular season championship, is giving you that chance to move on to the next round leisure free. So great job to Steven Stympian here, along with getting that win. As we'll move on to our race results here tonight, as we'll see where your favorite drivers finished out. Tonight's Termite Designs 200 is the first playoff race. It was wild here at Auto Club. As we head to Pocono next week, it's going to get probably even more wild. As you can see, Steven Stympian able to bring home first, Cedric Hunter second, third is going to go to Mark Whitley, another playoff driver there, Chuck Sweeting, and fourth, fifth is going to go to Clifton Ashley. Gary Slapzinski is going to go 6th, 7th is going to be Dylan Zelms, 8th, Kyle Heath. Ninth is going to be Michael Yarrow, and rounding out the top 10 is going to be Kevin Roy. As you look through the rest of the field, the ones that stick out here definitely are the drivers that were involved in those incidents. Larry Blair, he actually, I believe he disconnected with 7 to go, and luckily for his sake, Brad Delph not only had damage that pushed him behind him, Dave Bush and Jason Adams. So those 3 playoff drivers get pushed down the list, and it's Dave Bush and Jason Adams look like the 2 that are going to go home after the first race at Auto Club here, and that's a tough break for those drivers, but they're going to be able to try to bounce back next season and see what they can pull off in these final 3 races to set them up. But man, what a night it's been here at Auto Club. Brian, it's been a pleasure to call all this action with you. Any final thoughts before we get out of here tonight at Auto Club?
Well, after hearing what Steven Stympian had to say, great race from him tonight, dominant, going to Pocono next week, where, if you're successful at Auto Club, you can typically be successful at Pocono. And just judging based off of what I think his confidence level is and just the momentum he has now going into the playoffs, right now, I think you got to watch out for that 81. He's sitting on top of the world right now. So he is, we're early in the playoffs right now, but right now he is the guy to beat, and looks like it's going to be pretty tough to beat him.
Well, last season he was saying, man, if I would have made every single race, I would have been in a better spot for that championship. Well, he's been able to make it to every race this season here, and it's going to be interesting to see what he can do. If he can stop that 2P to Mark Whitley, who he makes it through to the next round. Critical moment for him tonight, getting that 3rd place finish and surviving. Now off the Pocono next week, we're going to have to see which 2 drivers get eliminated there. We have 10 moving on, and those 10 drivers are going to be Steven Stympian, Mark Whitley, Chuck Sweeting, Mark Koshik, Mark Chamberlain, Brad Delph, James Bryant, Robert Cheswick, Larry Blair, and Michael Yarrow as your 10 drivers moving on to Pocono next week with a shot for a championship still in these final 3 weeks. It's going to be wild. After that, you got New Hampshire, and then you got Atlanta to close it all out here for the championship at Sim Racing Unleashed. It's going to be a fun time here in the next 3 weeks, so make sure you're tuning in here to Freaky Fast Broadcasting so you don't miss out on any of that action. Again, thank you everybody who's tuned in here tonight. My name has been Zach Hall, along with Brian Johnson. We're going to send it up to our producer, Robert Moyer Jr., to close out tonight's broadcast.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Zach. Thank you all the fans out there that's tuned in here tonight with us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting with Sim Racing Unleashed here. at Auto Club. Wow, what a race. These cars, from what we've seen at the beginning of what we had when iRacing first brought them out, it was a hairy thing. But I'm telling you what, this last update really, really did something. Like you were, guys were talking about all night. Nothing but runs here, runs there. You get out of the draft, you fall back to 6th, 7th, 10th, and 2 laps later, you're back up battling for the lead. So there was a lot of dicing and slicing and going on here tonight with these guys here. So hopefully everybody enjoyed tonight's content, and we do much appreciate it. You know what to do out there, ladies and gentlemen, to help support Freaky Fast Broadcasting on this stream here. If you're watching it or coming back on the replay and following to the end here, hit that share button, like button, share it to your favorite social media platforms of your choosing. We do much appreciate it. You can hashtag us, like us on Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. But congratulations to Steven Stempian. Like you guys said, our next time we come here next Sunday, we will be at Pocono. That is my home track here in PA. So I ran that track. I was on that track. So it is a very interesting track. And definitely Brian Johnson and Steven Stempian, definitely they know how to get around that track. And we seen on Father's Day what Steven Stempian did with the wild finish that we had there at Freaky Fast Broadcasting when he got his win there. So that was awesome. But our next televised broadcast here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting will be tomorrow night with NAISEC Truck Series as we go live at 8:45 with Brian Johnson, Zach Hall, and Sam Dyer is going to be all up in the booth, and me running the cameras as always. But until tomorrow night, hopefully everybody has a great Sunday night. Sorry, see, I'm trying to flip back to Saturday night, but Sunday night, and enjoy your work week, and be safe out there, and hopefully everybody has a great week. But until tomorrow night here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, like we always like to say to everybody out there that tunes in and supports us, God bless everybody. We love yous all. Peace out.